Welcome back to part 2 of the 6K gold refining series. Gold has been allowed to settle completely down in the bottom of this beaker. It looks spectacular after a single refining. So now what we're going to do is we're going to rinse all of this liquid off of here and all the chemicals that we used to precipitate the gold. Okay, here's how the gold looks after we've got it all rinsed. It looks wonderful. Could probably melt that up just like it is. But I think what we'll do is we're going to do a second refining now on this gold. Let's move our gold back out of the way. That's about just under 3.5 troy ounces of pure gold in there. But what I have here is a product called TCA. It is chlorine, swimming pool chlorine tablets. And as you can see, I bought these tablets because of the fact that it says it has, what does that say down there, 84% available chlorine. They sell packets that's powdered. It would be much easier here, but these tablets carry a lot more chlorine, so we're going to use these tablets. Now we're going to transfer our ground up chlorine tablet into a gas generator flask. Dropping in a magnetic stir bar. Now we're going to add some hydrochloric acid. maybe about a half liter. A little more than a half liter. I'm going to turn on the stir bar, but nothing's going to happen because that gold is going to hold it in place until some of it gets dissolved out of the way. Here's our delivery tube. It's got a little gold on the end of it. That's pure gold, doesn't matter. Stick that in here now. And we'll connect the other end to our gas generator flask. All right, I'm going to start dripping some acid down into our TCA slurry. This is hydrochloric acid going down into the chlorine tablets that have been turned into a slurry with some distilled water. We should get an immediate reaction as soon as we start dripping this acid down in here. We're making some chlorine gas now. And what we'll do is we'll dissolve the gold using chlorine gas. Running out of hydrochloric acid, so I've got to take the gas generator apart. Here the gas flow is stopped because all the TCA has been consumed by the reaction. So what I'll have to do is take this thing apart and recharge it with another crushed up chlorine tablet and continue. I crushed up the other chlorine tablet, added it to the gas generator, and now we're going to start dripping some acid down in there. Form some more chlorine gas and bubble it into our beaker to get the rest of that gold to go into solution. This is the second charge of TCA in the gas generator, and I ran out of hydrochloric acid a couple times. Here, right there, I had to recharge it with hydrochloric. Then the TCA expended again, so I had to chop up another tablet, put it in there, and then wouldn't you know it, towards the end of the reaction, I focused on the clock and missed the focus on the gold. I've got just a few little crumbs of gold left in the beaker, and the gas generator has expended all the TCA again. It took 3 tablets, 3 crushed up tablets. It took about 1.5 liters of hydrochloric acid to get all that gold to go into solution. You can see down there's just a few little crumbs left. What we can do is donate that to our waste container for future recovery. Took 6 hours to get to this point, and what we're going to do is go ahead and disassemble everything now, and I'm going to call it. I'm not going to put any more TCA in here. Set this back out of the way back here. Forgot to turn the sound on, so we'll have to do a voiceover narration, explain what I'm doing here. I've added some ice to the gold to dilute it and precipitate out any silver chloride. It looks crystal clear and beautiful. So now we'll filter the solution. Our filter is clean as a whistle, and our solution looks crystal clear and bright. I should have used a bigger flask. What I'm going to have to do is make some room in this flask by pouring off the solution that's already been filtered into my large 5-liter beaker. This will make some room in the filter flask. Then we'll get this thing set back up. We'll continue to filter the rest of the solution from our beaker. And in a minute, you'll be able to see down at the bottom of the beaker, there's just a little bit of gold that did not dissolve during the chlorine dissolve. And what we'll do is we'll just add that to our temporary waste container along with the other gold that's in there, and we'll recover that later. Now we'll rinse the filter out with plenty of distilled water. Get that gold solution down into the filter flask. Now we'll get the rest of the gold solution. Now that it's been passed through the filter, we'll get the rest of the gold solution in our big 5-liter beaker and get it ready for precipitation with SO2 gas. Now we'll get the beaker set up for the SO2 gas precipitation. This precipitation happens better with a dilute solution, so I'm adding some distilled water to about the 4-liter level. I'll be dripping some sulfuric acid down into a slurry of sodium metabisulfite in our gas generator flask. And what this will do is it'll produce SO2 gas. You can see I've got a gas flow established. Now we're going to put the delivery tube into the gold solution and start bubbling the SO2 gas through that gold solution. Okay, this is the first time that I've ever tried to precipitate this much gold using SO2 gas, so I wasn't quite sure how this was going to turn out. I was a little concerned about having the correct amount or the right amount of reagent in the gas generator flask. You can see some gold forming on top of the surface of the gold as we bubble the gas through it. But the last thing I want to have to do is break this thing down and add SMB to the gas generator flask. So hopefully this will be enough. I think this is about 4 or so minutes into the bubbling sequence. You can see the solution starting to turn a different color, starting to get a little lighter and a little lighter. And then all of a sudden, bang, the precipitation happens and it just turns brown as the gold. Look at that gold crystal floating around in there. That is so beautiful. Now this is about 6 or 8 minutes into it. Let's get a Stannis test, see where we're at with the precipitation. And you can see there that we've still got plenty of gold that needs to drop out of that solution. So we'll just continue to bubble the gas. Here I'm going to get another Stannis test. This is probably 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes into the reaction. And you can see there we've still got gold in solution. So I'm just going to let it continue to bubble. I think this is about 10 or 12 minutes in. Let's get another Stannis test. And even after bubbling the gas for that long, we still got just a little bit of gold left in solution. So we'll let it continue to bubble. I was starting to feel a sense of relief here because I have never precipitated this much gold using SO2 gas. Here's our final Stannis test, and you can see there's no more gold in solution. So all the gold has now been precipitated out of that solution using SO2 gas. And here's a shot of the gold that's settled to the bottom of the beaker. Should be just under 3.5 troy ounces of pure gold in that beaker. Now that we've got all the gold precipitated, I'm going to shut the acid flow off to the gas generator, and that will shut down the flow of gas. Somebody recommended putting some kind of diffuser on the end of this gas delivery tube. And we can't do that because it'll get clogged up right away with gold. The minimum size for that opening should be about 1/4 of an inch, according to the book. Gold has been allowed to settle completely. Man, it sure looks like there's more than 3 ounces down in the bottom of that big beaker. But sometimes looks can be deceiving. What we'll do is I've got my stock pot here. It's got some pieces of copper in it. I'm going to add this waste solution directly into my stock pot. Here we go. Alright, here's our cake of pure gold down in the bottom of the beaker. Now we're going to rinse it off a little bit with some distilled water, even though it probably doesn't need much rinsing since we use the gas to do the precipitation. I meant to show this also. This is the tip of the delivery tube, and you can see that it's clogged up almost completely with gold. So if we tried to put anything smaller down in there, it would get plugged up with gold and the reaction would stop. We can get this gold down into a melt dish. take it over here on the melt table now. And we'll give this a quick melt and make us an ingot. Wow. Really misjudged the size of that amount of gold. Look at that thing, man. That looks spectacular. We overflowed the mold. All right, here's our gold ingot. It's got a really funky looking shape there, man. I misjudged the size of the mold that I needed. We were expecting 113.2 grams. Let's see what the actual yield is going to be. 113.9. So we're a little bit over on this one. That's okay. Look at that thing, man. It's beautiful. It's got a beautiful shine to it. And that really doesn't matter. I mean, it's pure gold. Pure gold is pure gold no matter what shape it has. This will conclude part 2 of the 6K gold refining. I'd like to thank everyone for watching.